Hello and welcome to another time of walking with Jesus. Thank you for joining me today. And we're going to be looking some more at the Gospel of Luke in chapter 6. And we're going to be walking with Jesus in terms of not judging others, which is a message that I think we, the church, need to hear. It's difficult for us sometimes when we have chosen to love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and when we have chosen to strive to love our neighbors as ourselves, not to try and hold others to a level of accountability that they didn't sign up for, that they know nothing about, and that they may never have learned. And so it's really important for us as we do this, that we are really trying to approach this from the perspective of loving others as God loves us. And so let's read the text for today. It's from Luke chapter 6. It's verses 37 and 38, just a couple of short verses. He says, "Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." Now, I just have to tell you, we need to be careful with this idea and think that if we are striving to give in order to get, that's not what's being talked about here. You can't fool God. And if you're giving in order to receive, you're giving for the wrong reasons, and you're not giving because you have received. See, this is the way we need to give. We need to give recognizing that we have received everything from the hand of the Father. And so we can be generous with what we have already received instead of giving a token in order to receive somehow more. That's the wrong way to give. So let me come back and start at the beginning of this. And I just want you to notice that these are kind of conditional clauses, which means that if this, then this. And so if you do not judge, then you will not be judged. If you do not condemn, then you will not be condemned. If you do forgive, then you will be forgiven. If you give, then it will be given to you. So while I did say, and it's really true, that we don't want to give in order to receive, God is willing to pour out blessings on those who are generous of heart and who recognize that what they have comes from His hand. And so much so that it's overflowing, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to read this from the Passion Translation as well. Jesus said, "Forsake the habit of criticizing and judging others, and then you will not be criticized and judged in return. Don't look at others and pronounce them guilty," that's condemnation, "and you will not experience guilty accusations of yourself. Forgive over and over, and you will be forgiven over and over. Give generously, and generous gifts will be given back to you, shaken down to make more room. Abundant gifts will pour out upon you with such an overflowing measure that it will run over the top. Your measurement of generosity becomes the measurement of your return." Now we have to be careful once again. I don't want to get into prosperity gospel thinking, which is so easy to do. We can't go there. But I am struck by the illustration of shaken down and poured together and all of that, shaken together, running over and poured out into your lap kind of a thing. Have you ever tried to pour a bag of sugar into a container that's just slightly too small and you're shaking it down and trying to make sure you get all the air out of it, or maybe a bag of cereal into an airtight container so that it's not in that cardboard box, and you're pouring it in there and oops, it's not quite big enough, and so you're tapping it on the counter and everything. That's the idea, is that God's generosity, he's going to pack as much into us as he possibly can if we are the kinds of people that he can trust with it, the kinds of people that he knows will use it as a blessing for others. And so I want you to also realize that God's generosity to us can be limited by our generosity to others. Now, once again, we can't give in order to receive. That can't be the point. We can't, as so often happens with televangelists and things of that nature within the name it, claim it, and, philosophy, is that, you give me $20, you give $20 to my ministry, and you're going to find that $20 return, or you're going to find $100 comes back to you. You're going to find money in a wallet that you had forgotten you had, or whatever. No, that's not the way this works. What Jesus is talking about is a lifestyle that is generous, that is gracious, that is loving. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Doesn't mean that we are not discriminating and that we cannot discern when someone is doing something that they shouldn't be doing and talk to them about it. Okay? But we are not to be their judge. God is the judge, and we are not to condemn them or to enact some form of penalty upon them. God is their judge, and God is the one who has the right to enact the final penalty, whatever that may be. We are just a fellow servant of God, and we walk beside him, and he is gracious. His mercies are new every morning. His compassions are new every morning. And we need to be that way towards others. We need to forgive those around us and cultivate an attitude of heart and mind of forgiveness, of letting go of the pains and the struggles and the things that have come your way. So that's what we're talking about. Living open-hearted and open-armed towards the world, even as God lived open-hearted and open-armed to the world in the form of Jesus Christ, his son. So open-hearted and so open-armed that he ended up on a cross. And that may happen to us too. And yet, I would say once again, you cannot outgive God. When you give because you recognize all that you have received, God will take that and do far more with that than you could ever imagine. And so, my brothers and sisters, as you walk with Jesus today, would you practice generosity? Practice forgiveness. Practice a spirit of harmony and unity and love. Really strive to bring the peace of God to people and be generous toward them. If you see a need, strive to meet it and help them. Walk in generosity today before the Lord, because everything you have, the very air that you breathe, the fact that your heart pumps, is a gift from God. The salvation that we have, the relationship that we have, it's a gift from him. Take these gifts and give them to the people around you as you walk with Jesus today. God bless you.